There's a lot of videos on YouTube of people that are like, here's all the secrets to Instagram, and it's like, there's not a secret, you just gotta work. So a lot of this isn't gonna be anything mind-blowing. It's not gonna be any super secret reptile Instagram specific thing. This is just what I do. It works really well for me. So if you have a reptile business where you're breeding or you're doing anything like that, be sure to stay tuned, because I'm gonna give you sort of my tips and tricks for making Instagram work for you. So I'm joined by this little Headstone Wash Brettles from Casey Cannon. She's pretty cool. As you all know, I love my Brettles pythons, so I was like, what can I handle and have out while I'm doing this video? Currently on my Instagram, I have, well, on my Palmetto Coast Instagram, which you need to be following. Let me pull up my numbers. As it stands right now, I have 5,227 followers on Instagram. I have almost 1,700 posts. And honestly, this is something I've been working at. That ain't gonna work. This is something I've been working at for years. I really am not a fan of buying ghost followers just to get my numbers up. I can look at people's engagement on like their top 3 posts and usually tell if they bought followers or not, because they'll have, you know, I don't know, 20,000 followers. And then when you go to their, you know, the third most recent picture, there's only like maybe 50 likes. So there's a disparity there between who you seem to claim that you have following you and then who's actually engaging in your content. And I'm a big Gary Vaynerchuk fan. I'm sure most of you guys know who he is, Gary V. And he's very much of the opinion that 50 followers that interact with you every day is better than 5,000 followers that don't have any reaction to your posts. They don't like anything, they don't comment, they do any of that. But this is a Instagram account I started back in 2015. I pride myself on it not being anything paid followers. I think I did an ad campaign once or twice with that years ago. It's been a really long time. And I'm on Instagram every day. And so the trick to making Instagram work for you, sadly, is there's no easy way to do it. You just have to put in the footwork and work at it every day. So I'll start with the 5 things that I do the most, and I'll talk about each one. So number 1, and most importantly, is going to be hashtags. Instagram allows you to use 30 hashtags in a post, and what I do is I will go through, let me get her back in frame, I'll go through periodically, look at whatever hashtags seem to be most on the popular end, and kind of the trick to that is you don't want to include hashtags that have millions of posts on it, because what happens is you post your picture, there's so many other people posting in that hashtag that your post kind of disappears as soon as it's in that hashtag's lineup, because you'll see top posts and then recent posts. So if you choose something like a really generic and sort of broad hashtag, something like pets, your post is going to disappear in that no problem, in no time really. So what I do is I will go through, and since I'm in the industry or niche of reptiles, I go through, I type in anything reptile related, see how the numbers are as far as how many posts are in that hashtag, and the ones that are usually in a couple 100,000, or maybe not quite in the 6 digits, but maybe in like the 5 digits, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, I'll choose those, and that's because that's a much smaller pool of posts, and so your stuff is more likely to get seen through that instead of millions of posts where your post is, you post it and then it's gone in that hashtag. And the trick too is, a lot of people when they first get into Instagram is they post those hashtags, those 30 hashtags, in the description, which takes up a lot of space. For convenience, get back here, I post mine in a comment. It still shows up, your post still shows up in all the hashtag feeds and stuff like that if anyone's following that. So you'll just post your hashtags in the comments, and then you don't have to worry about it. Doesn't take up a ton of space in your description or your post. It just kind of streamlines a little bit, makes it look a little bit better. Another trick I do when it comes to hashtags is, I'm an Android user. I love my Samsung Galaxies. There's a clipboard option, so when you copy and paste something, you can actually lock something into your clipboard. And so what I do is I take the 30 hashtags I use on a regular basis, and then I lock those into my phone so that I don't have to type these out every time. They're in my clipboard, so if my clipboard gets full, I can delete everything out of that, but my 3 pages of hashtags that I use still remain there. So when I post on Instagram, I just literally copy and paste those things. And you don't have to type them out or nothing. It makes life so much easier, because if you're gonna use 30 hashtags, typing them out constantly is gonna be a big pain in the ass. So it's so much easier to just put them in there and not have to worry about it. But I will update them periodically. I'll go through and see if there's any new hashtags that maybe have started taking off in the hobby, and kind of adjust as necessary. And another thing with hashtags, and I was kind of a stickler about this when I first started mine, was using hashtags that don't necessarily relate to the species or whatever I'm posting. So if I'm doing a Brettles python, there's a picture of one of the Brettles on there. If you look at my hashtags, you'll see ball python, corn snake, leopard gecko, kind of the generic whatever. I'm not a massive fan of it, but at the same time, if you think about it, if you want to get seen, you kind of have to use those sort of bigger, broader, the more popular species that most people are looking at. Hognoses are a big one, ball pythons. And kind of my thinking on this is I'm not trying to get somebody I'm not trying to scam people into seeing my stuff and liking it. With green trees especially, I'm hoping if there's a ball python person who's scrolling through Instagram and they see a picture of a green tree python in the ball python hashtag, maybe it'll spark their interest and they'll see a green tree python and it'll make them want to investigate more. Maybe it catches their interest and that's now a species they're interested in keeping, and that kind of inspires them to do so. So I kind of do it from a place of wanting to expose more people who maybe didn't know about that species before. Maybe if they're new to the hobby or something, letting them see that species and maybe hope it's a little bit of wow. And maybe hopefully it's a little bit more of an attention grabber. Hashtags were the big one, so we'll get down to this. But number 2 is follow hashtags, which I guess kind of falls into the last one. But now that Instagram has a feature where you can follow your favorite hashtags, so for me, like green tree pythons is one, and so in my feed as I'm scrolling through, hashtags from that one that I'm following, so hashtag green tree python, I'll be following that, and then I'll see posts from people that I'm not following, but Instagram's algorithm says, hey, you might be interested in this because it's under the hashtag you used. I highly recommend doing that. I didn't care for it at first. I thought it was like, this isn't going to do anything, but I do it now and it makes a big difference, and I think a lot of other people are now getting discovered as a result of that now as well. Number 3, look at my notes here. Post regularly. I post on Instagram every day, or at least I try to. I post at least once a day, and that's kind of what you should be doing, because obviously if you're trying to get out there and you have a brand or a business, and this doesn't even apply to reptiles, this whole video can be applied to any business. Just swap out the niche, if it's coffee, if it's cigars, if it's wine, if it's shoes, if it's handbags, if it's anything. But post regularly, post every day at least. Make sure that you're getting content out there on a regular basis, because you're not going to get seen if you're not posting anything. And I think a lot of people, when they first get into Instagram, they get a little frustrated that they're not getting any traction, they're not really gaining any followers, and it's one of those things where patience is going to be key. You just have to keep putting yourself out there and keep posting stuff, which that ties into interacting with other people on the app, on Instagram, which is number 4, and that is comment, interact with people, get involved, but do not spam people. Don't spam. Don't be that guy that we all see. There's some like reposting account, and so they're like, hey, it'll be a picture of like your foot, or I don't know, like your Brettles crawling on your prosthetic leg or something, whatever. And so you'll get a comment that says, wow, what a gorgeous photo. Give me a follow for more cool stuff like this. That maybe would have worked in the beginning of Instagram, but that does not work now. My biggest thing with Instagram, and I tell people all this all the time, the biggest thing with any social media, be it Instagram, Facebook, I guess MeWe, but I haven't jumped on that train yet, and I'm not gonna, sorry. The biggest thing you can do is be real and be authentic with people when it comes to your interactions and comments and stuff like that. It's really not that difficult. If you're following hashtags already of species you're interested in, someone posts a really smoking Brettles or a really smoking chondro or a really smoking highway ball, banana, double het, scaleless, pewter, or whatever. I literally just, that's the first ones that came off the top of my head. I don't know nothing about ball python morphs. Comment on it. If it's a nice snake, just say, hey man, that's a really good looking ball. That's a really good looking Brettle. That's a good looking chondro. Like, kind of get a dialogue. Ask people, what temperatures are you keeping yours at? How are you keeping yours? You keeping them natural? You keeping them simple? Just talk to people. Be a human being. Interact. Don't go spamming accounts and stuff left to right. That's going to get you reported, and it's going to get your account taken down. And so that actually was like number 5, and that's be real. Be a human being. Interact with people in the hobby. Talk to people. It's a give and take. It's a two-way street. Social media in general is a two-way street. If someone comments, don't just kind of leave them hanging. Thank them at least. Say thanks for the interest, thanks for liking, thanks for following, whatever. It doesn't have to be anything fantastic. You don't have to get them a box of chocolates and a dozen roses, but just show some appreciation that someone actually took the time to stop and, look at your photo, give it time out of their day for, maybe scrolling back and looking at it, because maybe we've all done it. You endlessly scroll, keep going, and then you'll see something really interesting, and you back up and you look at it, and hey, maybe that someone wants to follow you, maybe not, but regardless, if they thought it was cool, let them know that you appreciate it. What else? I'll throw in a little bonus one too, which I guess would technically be 6. But if you have a Facebook account, like if you have a Facebook page, like I have the Palmetto Coast page, I have the Herpetoculture Podcast page, the ChondroCast page, all this other stuff, I have all of those linked to my Instagram, so instead of me having to go and post it twice, post it on Instagram and then post it on Facebook, that Instagram photo gets automatically sent to Facebook, and I kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I think it's really handy. I don't know about y'all, but I don't like working more than I have to when it comes to this stuff, and if I could just post it in one place and be done, it's a no-brainer. But to wrap it up, hashtags, those are so important. I actually recently did the thing I had mentioned where I went through and found the top hashtags for kind of what I was aiming for as far as number of posts and stuff like that, and it's made a massive difference with my followers and my account getting seen more and that kind of thing. Jake too. Jake's tried it out. Jake noticed a huge difference in his stuff for JLB Morelia. Check him out too. Instagram's really not that hard. It's just you have to put in the footwork. And if you're willing to do that, then you're golden. I actually look at it as a game almost. Like I'll sit there all day and just, I'll go through and like stuff and follow people and all that jazz. But the big part is I don't want to be spammy. I don't want to come off as a robot behind an account. I want people to know there's a person behind that account. There's a person there talking to them in the comments. There's a person interacting with them. Also, I'll mention too, Instagram stories, especially live streaming on Instagram is always fun. It's super easy. It's like 2 clicks of a button and you're going. That's a cool tool. Me and Jake do it sometimes on the THP account. And it's just a cool way to interact with people. We get a lot of people that follow the podcast, and so they get to ask us questions, and we get to, just talk about goofy stuff, and it's just fun. It's a fun little bonus that we try to do on a semi-regular basis, but we're kind of slack about it. But regular Instagram stories, if you get over 10,000 followers, you can then add links to that to where people can swipe up. Get out there. I got 3 minutes left, but I'm going to end it here. Instagram, do these things I tell you. If you have any questions, please message me on Instagram, message me on Facebook, leave me a comment down below. I'm happy to answer it. I love Instagram. It's my favorite social media platform, bar none. Hit me up if you have any questions. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. You know the deal. And follow me on the platform at Palmetto Coast Exotics. Follow me on Facebook at Palmetto Coast Exotics. See you later.